If you plan to keep your bike around for a long time, an underrated way to contribute to this goal is to wash your dirty bike. In this video, we will outline the products you need and the steps you'll follow for the best possible results. Let's introduce some necessary entity products that you can find on the Bikes Online website. First up is our DG60 Bike Wash Spray. This is your general purpose cleaner to use anywhere and everywhere on your bike. Next in the lineup is the DG15 Spray Degreaser. This is a more aggressive, pressurized formula best suited for really greasy or oily parts like cassettes. This little guy is the DG30 Chain Degreaser, and this product completes our degreaser lineup with a formula specifically designed for your chain. As a follow-up to DG30, Entity has two chain lubes. The first is the LB30 Dry Lube for riding in dry or dusty conditions. The second is the LB15 Wet Lube for riding in wet or even snowy conditions. Enough talking, let's get cleaning. Before we get started, there's some additional supplies you should round up. A bucket, the soap of your choice, a sponge or mitt, a microfiber towel, a soft bristled brush for scrubbing painted surfaces, a stiff bristled brush and or cassette brush, and a flathead screwdriver? We'll come back to how that comes into play in a moment. Now it's time to get your dirty bike on your bike stand. If you don't have a stand, you can just remove your front wheel so that it stays put and lean the bike against a wall. Moving on, let's fill that bucket with soap and water. Note that soap should be pH neutral to preserve your bike's finish. Warm to hot water is strongly preferred as it does a better job of loosening grime. Now let's throw our whole cleaning crew into the suds. The first step will be degreasing the drivetrain after a good initial rinse. It's always a best practice to start with the most aggressive chemicals and work our way up to the least aggressive. With that being said, let's use the DG30 chain degreaser and a stiff brush to get the chain clean. Rotate your pedals backwards while applying DG30 liberally to the entire chain. Now work your brush around all the surfaces to loosen the grime. Rinse the chain with water. Repeat this process as necessary until that chain looks brand new. Now is also a good time to take that flathead screwdriver we talked about and rotate the pedals to scrape any lingering gunk off that rear derailleur's jockey wheels. DG15 will be the perfect application to clean a grimy cassette. Just be careful when spraying this product that you don't get it in places it shouldn't go, like hub bearings or suspension pivots. Spray a generous amount on and let it sit for a moment to do its thing. Using your cassette brush, give the cassette some attention both on and between gears before giving it a healthy rinse. Repeat this step as necessary. With the drivetrain freshly degreased, our next step will be using our least aggressive degreaser to clean the bike. Now give the entire bike a nice spray down with the DG60 Bike Wash and let that sit for a moment without letting it go dry. Pass your soft brush over any stubborn dirt before giving the bike a rinse. If you have a nozzle on your hose, use a lower pressure setting so the water doesn't get pushed into places it shouldn't. We don't want bearings and other components having their grease pushed out. With the bike rinsed, let's get on with the final cleansing step, soap. During this step, we will pay mind to pass over every surface including between spokes, the underside of the bike, brake calipers, inner fork legs, and anything else that could normally be overlooked. Use your mitt, your rag, your soft brush, or whatever tool makes the most sense to address all those nooks and crannies. Now give the bike one thorough and final rinse. To wrap things up, you can now dry your bike with a clean and dry towel. This will help you make sure that there's no missed spots on the bike, as well as give the chain a little extra dry time before we give it some fresh lube. With that out the way, let's apply the appropriate chain lube, whether it be the LB15 Wet or the LB30 Dry, to your chain 1 drop per roller. This technique helps minimize waste, which means less grime buildup in the future. Make sure to let the lube settle in for a little bit and wipe any excess before riding. As a final precaution, now is a good time to do a visual inspection of wear items like brake pads and tires. Replace worn pads and repair any tire punctures if necessary. Now you can give yourself a pat on the back because your bike is officially clean. Thanks for tuning in to Bikes Online, where you can ride more for less. We'll see you next time.